Billionaire takes his son out for dinner, but when he sees a poor hungry mother and her daughter, he does something unbelievable. The diner was nothing special. Time-scratched wooden tables, simple chairs that creaked faintly, and yellowed light fixtures hanging from the low ceiling. The smell of French fries and seasoned burgers filled the air. It was the kind of place where nobody pretended to be more than they really were. Ethan Sterling was sitting at a table near the window, watching his son chew on fries with the typical concentration of a 5-year-old. Liam had ketchup on the corner of his mouth and smiled between bites, swinging his little legs under the table. "It's yummy, Dad." Ethan smiled back. "That's great, champ." He didn't dress like a billionaire. Dark jeans, a plain grey shirt, comfortable sneakers, nothing drew attention, and that's exactly how he preferred it. Away from the spotlights, away from the endless meetings, away from the weight of the Sterling name. Here he was just a dad having dinner with his son. The door to the diner opened with a gentle jingle from the bell hung above the entrance. 2 figures walked in, a blonde woman with her hair pulled back in a low ponytail, simple clothing, faded blue jeans, a slightly wrinkled white shirt, sneakers worn at the toe. She held the hand of a little girl the same age as Liam. The small child had bright, curious eyes, blonde hair falling over her shoulders, and wore a light pink jacket that was already too big for her. Ethan noticed the way the woman looked around. It wasn't the look of someone searching for a seat. It was the look of someone checking if it was okay to stay, if this place was safe. She walked toward the counter with cautious steps, her daughter by her side. "A cup of water, please," she asked in a low, almost embarrassed voice. The counter attendant nodded and grabbed a plastic cup. He filled it with ice water and handed it to her. The little girl tugged at her mother's shirt hem with small fingers. "Mum," she whispered. "What is it, sweetheart? I'm hungry." The voice was so quiet it almost vanished into the diner's noise, but Ethan heard it, and so did Liam. The boy stopped chewing and turned his head toward the two. He looked at the little blonde girl, then looked at his own plate, full of fries, juicy pieces of burger, and an untouched chocolate milkshake beside it. Sarah took the cup of water and led her daughter to an empty table in the corner, away from the bustle. She sat across from her and lovingly ran a hand through the little girl's blonde hair. "Drink a little, okay? We'll eat at home later." Lily held the cup with both small hands and drank slowly. But her eyes kept drifting toward the other tables, where people were eating burgers, pizzas, and crispy fries. She quickly looked away, as if she knew she shouldn't stare. Liam put his fork down on the table. "Dad!" Ethan turned his face to him. "What is it, son?" The boy discreetly pointed toward the corner table. "That girl is hungry." Ethan followed his son's gaze. He saw Sarah trying to distract her daughter, talking softly, smiling despite her tired eyes. He saw Lily swinging her legs in the chair, too quiet for a 5-year-old. Liam looked at his father with that strange seriousness that children sometimes have when they realize something important. "Dad, can I share my food with them?" The question went through Ethan like a silent electric current. He blinked, surprised. He hadn't expected that, not in such a direct, pure way. For a second, he just looked at his son. Liam waited for the answer, his brown eyes wide, full of genuine hope. Ethan felt something tighten in his chest, pride, tenderness. He put his hand on his son's shoulder and smiled. "Do better than that. Invite them to eat with us." Liam's face lit up. "Really? Really?" Liam slid out of his chair before Ethan could say anything else. He crossed the diner with quick steps and stopped in front of the table where Sarah and Lily were sitting. "Hi!" The two looked up at him at the same time, surprised. "Hi!" Lily replied, blinking her bright eyes. "Do you want to eat with us? My dad said you can." Sarah blinked several times, confused. "What?" Liam pointed to Ethan, who was already standing up and walking toward them. "Pardon his excitement," Ethan said with a lopsided smile, "but he's right. Would you like to have dinner with us?" Sarah flushed immediately. She shook her head. "No, thank you, we can't." "Please," Liam asked, looking directly at Lily. "I have a toy car. I can show you later." Lily looked at her mother with those bright eyes full of desire, but without saying anything. "Mom," Sarah bit her lip. She was clearly uncomfortable, but also visibly touched by the kindness of these two people. Ethan crouched slightly, bringing himself down to her level. "No pressure, but we have plenty of food, and it would be nice for the kids, if you allow it, of course." There was something in his voice. It wasn't pity, it was respect, as if he knew she had her pride and he was just offering a bridge. Sarah looked at Lily. She looked at Liam. She looked at Ethan, trying to find some hidden motive. She found nothing but sincerity, and she sighed. "All right. Thank you." Liam celebrated quietly. He grabbed Lily's hand without ceremony. "Come on." The two children ran ahead. Sarah slowly stood up, still feeling awkward, adjusting her old bag on her shoulder. Ethan waited for her to pass and walked beside her. "My name is Ethan, this is Liam, Sarah, and this is Lily. Nice to meet you, Sarah." She just nodded her head. When they reached the table, Ethan called the attendant and ordered another full meal, orange juice and extra fries. The attendant quickly wrote it all down and brought it over. Ethan placed the steaming plate in front of Lily. "For me." "For you," Ethan said with a smile. Lily looked at her mother, asking for silent permission. Sarah nodded her head, her eyes shining. The girl carefully picked up the fork and began to eat. Slowly, chewing thoroughly, without rush, but also without hiding that she was genuinely hungry. Liam ate next to her, chatting between bites. "Do you like cars?" "I do. I have a red one. It's the fastest of all." "I've never had a toy car." Liam stopped chewing and looked at her as if that were impossible. "Never." Lily shook her head. "Then you can play with mine," he said, already pulling the metal car out of his jacket pocket and placing it on the table. Lily's eyes sparkled like two stars. "Really? Really? Look how fast it goes." Liam made the car slide across the table, making engine noises with his mouth. Lily laughed, a clear and joyful laugh that made Sarah close her eyes for a second. Ethan watched everything in silence. Something special was happening there. It was connection. It was humanity. Sarah watched her daughter with a tightening in her heart. Ethan noticed. He didn't say anything. He just nudged the basket of fries a little closer to her. "Eat. It's still warm." Sarah hesitated, but took a fry. It was delicious. She couldn't even remember the last time she had eaten something warm like this, unhurriedly, without guilt. "Thank you," she said softly. "No need to thank me." "Yes, I do." "You don't even know me," Ethan shrugged. Liam extended the invitation. I just followed his lead. She smiled for the first time since she entered the diner. A small smile, but real. "He's very kind." "I learned from him, actually," Ethan said, looking at his son. Sarah blinked, surprised. "What do you mean?" Ethan continued watching Liam, who was now making the car fly through the air while Lily laughed. "I spent a lot of time focused on work. I forgot what really matters. Liam reminds me of that every day." Sarah didn't know what to say. The simplicity of that confession caught her off guard, so she just ate another fry and let the silence speak for her. The children chatted non-stop. Lily laughed more than Sarah had seen in weeks. Liam was radiant, showing off the car, telling invented stories. "Did you see how it flies?" Liam held the car up in the air. "Vroom, vroom," Lily imitated, holding up her little hands. The two laughed together as if they were siblings. Ethan glanced sideways at Sarah. "They're already best friends." "They are," she agreed, her voice soft. "Lily doesn't usually talk this much. Neither does Liam. He's quieter at home." Sarah looked at him, curious. "Really? Really? I think kids recognize kids." "Maybe," Sarah murmured. They continued eating. The conversation was light, not forced. Ethan asked where she lived, if Lily went to school, simple things. Sarah answered without going into detail. He didn't press. When they finished, Lily pushed the empty plate away and sighed contentedly. "That was delicious." That's good, Ethan said. Do you want dessert? Lily's eyes lit up, but Sarah quickly answered, No, thank you. You've done too much already. Mom, Lily began, but stopped when she saw her mother's expression. Ethan sensed the tension and changed the subject. It's okay, but if you want to come back here another day, we can arrange it. The kids enjoyed playing together. Sarah looked at Lily, who was holding Liam's toy car like a treasure. Perhaps, she said, without promising anything. Liam jumped off his chair. Lily, come look. You can make it go up like this. See? He placed the car on the back of the chair and made it slide down as if it were a ramp. Lily laughed and tried to do the same. Ethan and Sarah watched in silence. The diner continued its normal activity around them, but right there, at that table, a bubble of peace seemed to exist. Thank you, truly, Sarah said again, this time looking directly at him. You have no idea how much this meant. Ethan held her gaze for a second. There was something there. Tiredness, yes, but also strength, dignity. I think I do, he replied. She looked away, too emotional. After a few minutes, Sarah stood up and called her daughter. Lily, sweetheart, we need to go. Lily pouted, but obeyed. She carefully gave the toy car back to Liam. Thank you for letting me play. Keep it, Liam said, pushing the car back toward her. What? No, I can't. I have others at home. This one is yours now? Lily looked at her mother, uncertain. Sarah was visibly touched but couldn't deny her this. All right, but only if you thank him properly. Lily turned to Liam and, without warning, gave him a hug. A tight hug, the kind children give when they really like someone. Thank you so much. Liam turned red up to his ears but smiled broadly. You're welcome. Sarah picked up her old bag and prepared to leave. Before going, she took some crumpled bills out of her jeans pocket. Let me pay for Lily's part, at least. Ethan raised his hand, gentle but firm. No need. But it was my pleasure, really. Sarah slowly put the money away, fighting her pride, but in the end, she just nodded. Thank you, Ethan. From the bottom of my heart. See you next time, Sarah. She smiled faintly, a tired but grateful smile, and left with Lily through the door. The little girl waved to Liam through the glass window, holding the red toy car tenderly. Liam waved back, still smiling, watching the two disappear down the street. When they were out of sight, Ethan sat down again and looked at his son. You're incredible, you know that. Liam shrugged, still looking out the window. She was hungry, Dad. Ethan ran a hand through his son's hair and smiled, feeling his heart swell with pride. Sometimes, the most important lessons came from the smallest people. And that night, in a simple diner with warm lights and old tables, two families left with their hearts a little lighter than when they had entered. The sound of the door chime still echoed as Ethan looked out the window one more time. Sarah and Lily walked down the sidewalk illuminated by the streetlights, the girl hopping occasionally, holding the toy car. Sarah looked down and smiled at her daughter, and for the first time that night, Ethan saw her shoulders relax. He didn't know it yet, but that encounter was just the beginning of something much bigger. The alarm clock rang at 5:30 in the morning. Sarah opened her eyes in the dark and turned off the alarm before it woke Lily. She lay there for another minute, looking at the cracked ceiling of the room. Her body was tired. It always was. She slowly got up, put her feet on the cold floor, and walked to the bathroom. The shower water took a while to warm up. While waiting, she looked at her reflection in the steamed-up mirror. 29 years old. She looked 40. She took a quick shower, put on her usual jeans and a clean shirt. She tied her blonde hair in a tight ponytail. She grabbed her old bag hanging on the chair and checked her cell phone. One message. Hi, Sarah. I'll have to cancel today's cleaning gig. Something unexpected came up. Sorry for the inconvenience. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. It was the third time that month that the same client had cancelled, always last minute, always with vague excuses. Sarah typed a polite reply. No problem. Just call if anything comes up. She put her cell phone away and went to Lily's room. The girl was sleeping on her side, hugging a faded teddy bear. Sarah sat on the edge of the bed and lovingly ran a hand through her daughter's blonde hair. Sweetheart, wake up. Mom needs to leave. Lily slowly opened her bright eyes and blinked. Already? Already, my dear. Mrs. Davies is coming to stay with you, okay? Lily rubbed her eyes and sat up in bed. Okay, Mom. Sarah helped her daughter get dressed, prepared a simple breakfast, toast with butter and milk, and waited for the neighbor to arrive. Mrs. Davies was a 60-year-old woman who lived in the apartment next door and watched Lily when Sarah needed to leave early. Good morning, dear, Mrs. Davies said upon entering with a gentle smile. Good morning, Mrs. Davies. Thank you for coming. Don't mention it. Lily is a darling. Sarah crouched down and hugged her daughter. Mum will be back later, okay? Behave yourself. Okay, Lily said, already sitting at the table, slowly chewing her toast. Sarah left the apartment with a heavy heart. It always hurt to leave Lily, always. She took the bus and went to the neighborhood, where she had the best chance of finding work. She spent the whole morning calling old clients, asking if they needed a day job done. Some didn't answer. Others said they didn't need anything at the moment. We'll call you when we need you, Sarah. Always the same phrase. Late in the afternoon, she managed to secure a day job for 3 days later. It was something, but it wasn't enough. She returned home late in the afternoon. Lily was drawing at the kitchen table with colored pencils that were already halfway used. Hi, Mum. Hi, my love, Sarah said, picking her daughter up and covering her face with kisses. What did you draw? A house with a garden. Sarah looked at the drawing. A colorful little house, flowers in front, a yellow sun in the sky. It's beautiful, Lily smiled, proud. Will we have a house like this someday? Sarah felt her heart tighten. Someday, love. Someday. Mrs. Davies said goodbye and left. Sarah prepared dinner, rice, beans, and a fried egg. It was all they had. She put more food on Lily's plate and less on her own. Mom, aren't you going to eat more? Lily asked, looking at her mother's plate. I ate a lot for lunch, sweetheart. I'm full. It was a lie. But Lily believed her. After dinner, Sarah bathed her daughter, put her in her old but clean pajamas and tucked her into bed. She read a short story, the same one Lily asked for every night, and kissed her on the forehead. Good night, my treasure. Good night, Mom. I love you. I love you too. More than anything. Sarah turned off the light and went to the kitchen. She opened the refrigerator and looked inside. There wasn't much, a few eggs, a piece of cheese, half a carton of milk. Some wilted vegetables. She needed to buy more groceries, but money was tight. She closed the refrigerator and went to the small table in the living room where she kept the bills. She sorted the envelopes, electricity bill, water bill, rent. She did the math in her head. Even with the day job she managed to get for 3 days from now, she would still be short on money. She sighed deeply. She was always short. The next day she woke up early again. She took Lily to the local public preschool and went looking for more work. She walked all day, knocked on several doors, left her cell phone number in a few places. No one called. When she picked Lily up late in the afternoon, the teacher pulled Sarah aside. Can I speak with you for a minute? Sarah felt her stomach clench. Of course. It's about Lily's sneakers, the teacher said carefully. They're pretty worn out. The toe is already torn open. I'm afraid she'll trip and hurt herself. Sarah looked down, embarrassed. I know, I'm trying to buy a new pair. I just need to save a little more. The teacher smiled understandingly. No rush. I just wanted to let you know, okay? Thank you. Sarah took Lily's hand and left, her face warm with shame. On the way home, she looked at her daughter's feet. The pink sneaker was truly finished. The open toe left her little toe exposed. Mom, are you okay? Lily asked, looking up. I am, love. Why? You're quiet. Sarah stopped, crouched down, and held her daughter's face in her hands. Your sneaker is very worn out, isn't it? Is it hurting your foot? Lily shook her head quickly. No, Mom. It's fine. Are you sure? Isn't it tight? No, it's really good, Lily said with a small smile. I like them. Sarah felt her eyes burn. She hugged her daughter tightly. You are the best girl in the world, you know that. Lily laughed and hugged her back. I know, Mom. That night, after putting Lily to bed, Sarah stayed up late, sitting in the kitchen with a cup of cold tea in her hand, looking at the bills spread out on the table. She did the math again and again and again. No matter how she calculated it, the result was always the same. She wouldn't make it. She leaned her head against the wall and closed her eyes. The tiredness weighed on her shoulders like a stone, but she couldn't give up. She didn't have that luxury. Lily depended on her. She took a deep breath, stood up, put the bills away, and went to sleep. Tomorrow would be another day, another attempt, another fight, and she would keep fighting. She always would, because that's what mothers did. The next day, Sarah managed to get a last-minute day job. An old client called saying they urgently needed help. Sarah accepted immediately, even knowing she would earn less than usual. She worked all day. Cleaned, organized, ironed clothes. When she finished, the client paid in cash. Thank you, Sarah, you saved my day. Don't mention it. Just call if you need anything. On the way home, Sarah stopped at a small market. She bought the basics: rice, beans, eggs, milk, bread. She looked at the fruit section and picked up 2 apples. Lily loved apples. In the checkout line, she saw a window display with children's sneakers. There was a pink one, tiny, Lily's size. She asked the price. It was too expensive. She put the thought aside and moved on. Someday she would buy those sneakers. When she arrived home, Lily ran to the door. Mom! Sarah dropped the bags and picked her daughter up, twirling around with her. Hi, my love, did you miss me? I did, Lily said, laughing. Sarah prepared dinner. This time there was a little more food. She put a good portion on Lily's plate and ate a little herself too. After dinner, the two sat on the old sofa and watched a cartoon on the small television. Lily snuggled up in her mother's lap, holding the red toy car Liam had given her. Mom, when will we see Liam again? Sarah ran a hand through her daughter's blonde hair. I don't know, love. We just ran into them by chance that day. He's my friend. I know. He's a very nice boy. Lily was quiet for a moment, playing with the car. His dad is nice too. Sarah smiled faintly. He is. And it was true. Ethan had been kind, respectful, non-judgmental. She didn't know if she would see him again, but a small part of her hoped so. Sunday dawned sunny. Sarah decided to take Lily to the park. It didn't cost anything, and the girl deserved some fun. She prepared 2 simple sandwiches, filled a water bottle, and they walked out of the house. The park was small but nice. It had a few swings, a slide, wooden benches under the trees. There were always children running everywhere, shouting, laughing, being kids. Can I go on the swing, Mum? You can, love, but stay where I can see you, okay? Okay, Lily ran off, her worn sneakers hitting the dirt ground. Sarah sat on an empty bench, placed her bag beside her, and watched her daughter. Lily climbed onto the swing and started swinging, her blonde hair flying in the wind. Sarah smiled. Moments like this were rare, but they were worth everything. Suddenly, Lily stopped swinging. She looked toward one side of the park, and her eyes widened. Liam! She jumped off the swing and ran off. Sarah immediately stood up, trying to see where her daughter was going. And then she saw. Liam was near the slide and with a ball in his hands, and beside him, in jeans and a simple t-shirt, was Ethan. Lily ran up to Liam without any hesitation. Liam, it's you! The boy turned, and his face lit up. Lily! The two hugged like old friends who hadn't seen each other in years. Ethan smiled at the scene and looked up, searching. He found Sarah standing a few feet away. Their eyes met. He smiled and waved. Sarah waved back, feeling her face warm up slightly. Ethan walked toward her with his hands in his pockets. Hi. Hi, Sarah replied, still a little awkward. Quite a coincidence, huh? It is. I didn't expect to see you here. We come almost every Sunday, Ethan said, looking at the children who were already playing with the ball. Liam loves this park. Lily does too. It's her favorite place. Ethan pointed to the bench. Want to sit down? I think they'll be playing for a while. Sarah hesitated, but eventually agreed. All right. The two sat on the bench, maintaining a respectful distance. They watched the children in silence for a few minutes. Liam kicked the ball to Lily, who ran after it, laughing loudly. They look like siblings, Ethan commented. They really do, Sarah agreed, smiling faintly. Ethan turned his body slightly towards her. Does Lily have siblings? Sarah shook her head. No, it's just the two of us. He nodded without asking more questions. Sarah appreciated that. Most people pressed, wanted to know more, judged. What about Liam? She asked, returning the curiosity. It's just the two of us too, Ethan replied, looking at his son. His mother passed away when he was 2. Sarah felt a pang in her chest. I'm sorry, thank you, it's been 3 years now. It still hurts, but we're learning to live with it. She didn't know what to say, so she just stayed quiet, and Ethan seemed to be grateful for that. They continued watching the children. Liam and Lily were now inventing some crazy game, laughing and running around. Did you grow up in this city? Ethan asked after a while. No, I came from another state. I came to try for a better life, you know? Did you succeed? Sarah gave a sad smile. I'm still trying. Ethan nodded, non-judgmentally. What about you? Sarah asked. Were you born here? I was born here. Grew up, studied, worked. I've actually never left. It must be nice to have roots. It is. But sometimes I think I lost some things along the way. I got so focused on work that I forgot to live. Sarah looked at him, surprised by his honesty. At least you realized it. Some people never do. Ethan smiled faintly. That's true. They fell silent again, but it wasn't an uncomfortable silence. It was peaceful. Natural. When you were a kid, what did you want to be? Ethan asked, turning his body slightly more toward her. Sarah blinked, taken aback by the question. Me? Oh, I don't know, I guess a teacher. Oh, I like teaching the other kids to read. That's lovely. And you? Ethan laughed. A firefighter. Sarah laughed too, imagining him as a child dreaming of that. Seriously? Seriously, I thought the red truck was the greatest thing. Every boy does. It's true. They laughed together, and for the first time, Sarah felt she could relax. That she didn't have to pretend to be strong all the time. And today, do you still have dreams? Ethan asked, his voice softer. Sarah was quiet for a moment, thinking, small ones, to have a steady job, not to worry so much about money. To see Lily grow up happy. Those are beautiful dreams. And yours. Ethan looked at his son, who was now teaching Lily how to kick the ball properly. To see Liam grow up to be a good person, not to spoil him with money or material things, to teach him to value what really matters. Sarah felt a tightening in her chest. It was rare to find someone who thought that way. You're doing a good job. He's an amazing kid. Thank you, Lily is too. You're raising her very well. Sarah looked away, emotional. I do what I can. It's more than many people do. They watched the children again. Liam had taken off his sneakers and was running barefoot. Lily laughed, trying to imitate him. That's when Ethan noticed. Her sneaker was very worn out. The toe was open. He could see her little toe inside, and he didn't say anything. He just stored that information in his heart, without asking questions, without judging. What do you do for work? Sarah asked, breaking the silence. Ethan hesitated. He didn't want to lie, but he also didn't want to scare her off. I work in investments. Nothing very exciting. That must be complicated. Sometimes. And you? I do day cleaning gigs, cleaning, organizing, those kinds of things. That must be tiring. Sarah shrugged. It is. But at least I choose my hours, and I can spend more time with Lily. Ethan nodded, admiring her strength. It wasn't easy to raise a child alone, he knew that. "Mom," Lily shouted from afar, "look how I kick!" She kicked the ball with all her might and the ball flew far. Liam ran after it, laughing. Sarah and Ethan exchanged a look and smiled. "They're something else," Ethan said. "They really are." The children played for over an hour. They invented crazy games, climbed on the low trees, rolled around in the grass. They were dirty, sweaty, and completely happy. Ethan and Sarah continued talking about simple things, old movies they liked, favorite foods, places they'd like to visit someday. It wasn't anything profound, but it was real, and the two felt something growing there, a friendship, a connection. When the sun began to set, Sarah stood up. "I think we need to go." Ethan stood up too. "We do too, it's getting late." They called the children, who came running, complaining. "Already, Mom." "Already, my love. Tomorrow is a school day." Lily pouted, but obeyed. She turned to Liam. "Bye, Liam." "Bye, Lily. Will we see each other again?" Lily looked at her mother, full of hope. "Maybe, sweetheart. If we run into each other again." Liam looked at his dad. "Dad, can we come back here next Sunday?" Ethan looked at Sarah, who blushed slightly. "We can. We usually come anyway." Sarah nodded, not promising anything, but not denying it either. "Then maybe we'll see each other." "Maybe." The four walked together to the park exit. There. They said goodbye. The children hugged again. Ethan and Sarah just nodded to each other, but their look said more than words. On the way back home, Lily wouldn't stop talking. "Mom, I had so much fun. Liam is so nice. We invented lots of games, and he taught me how to kick the ball." Sarah smiled, listening to her daughter chatter. "That's good, my love. I'm happy you had fun. I liked his dad too, he's nice." "He is." Lily held her mother's hand tightly. "We're coming back there, right, Mom?" Sarah squeezed the small hand. "We'll try, love." And deep down in her heart, she knew she would, because, for the first time in a long time, she didn't feel alone. The letter arrived on a Tuesday. Sarah was preparing breakfast when she heard the sound of mail being pushed under the door. She left the toast on the griddle and went to retrieve it. A white envelope. Sender. Apartment Management Company. She knew what it was even before opening it. She slowly tore the envelope and read. "Dear tenant, we inform you of the annual rent adjustment as per contract." Sarah's eyes scanned the numbers. $200 more per month. $200 she didn't have. She sat down in the kitchen chair and reread the letter 3 times, as if the numbers would magically change. They didn't. "Mum, the toast is burning." Sarah jumped up and took the toast off the griddle. It was black on the edges. She scraped off the burnt part and buttered it. "Sorry, love." "It's okay," Lily said, biting into the toast without complaining. Sarah drank her coffee in silence, her head spinning. She needed more work. She needed it, urgently. After dropping Lily off at school, she called every client she had. Most didn't answer. The ones who did said they didn't need anyone right now. Late that morning, she received a message. It was from Mrs. Martinez, the monthly client who always called Sarah every Monday. "Hi, Sarah. I need to let you know I won't be needing your services anymore. My daughter is moving in and will take care of the house. Sorry, good luck." Sarah read the message 3 times too. Monday was the day that paid part of her rent. It was the most guaranteed job she had. Past tense. She took a deep breath and replied, "No problem." "Thank you for everything." She put her cell phone away and leaned her head against the wall of the bus stop. She needed to stay calm. She would figure it out. She always did. Or almost always. On Thursday, she received another call. It was from Mrs. Christina, and who called her to do day jobs occasionally. "Hi, Sarah. How are you?" "I'm good, Mrs. Christina." "And you? Look, I'm calling to let you know I found another cleaning person. A friend referred her, and she charged less. I'm sorry, Sis, dear." Sarah felt her stomach churn. "No problem, Mrs. Christina. Thanks for letting me know. Good luck, okay? Thank you." She hung up the phone and stood still in the middle of the street. People hurried past her. No one noticed. No one saw. She was invisible. She went home without getting any work. She paid for the bus fare and counted the money left in her wallet. It wasn't enough, not by a long shot. On Friday morning, she woke up to a message. It was from Mrs. Paula, for whom she had scheduled a day job on Saturday. "Sarah, it will have to be another day. My husband is sick and the house is a mess. It won't work for you to come now. I'll let you know when it can be, okay?" Sarah didn't even reply right away. She just stared at her phone, feeling her throat tighten. 4 jobs lost in 1 week. 4. And the rent had increased. She stood up, went to the kitchen, and sat on the chair. She took out the notebook where she wrote down the bills. She did the math again. Even cutting everything superfluous, which was already almost nothing, she would still be short on money. She thought about taking out a loan. But from whom? She didn't have family here. She didn't have close friends. Mrs. Davies was already helping enough just by looking after Lily. She closed the notebook and put her head in her hands. She couldn't give up, but she also didn't know what else to do. The weekend was heavy. Sarah spent Saturday and Sunday looking for work. She left resumes at stores, markets, restaurants. No one was hiring. Lily noticed something was wrong. "Mom, are you sad?" "No, love. Just a little tired. Do you want me to draw you a picture? Drawing always makes people happy." Sarah pulled her daughter onto her lap and hugged her tightly. "I would love a picture from you." Lily ran to her room and came back with paper and colored pencils. She sat on the floor and started drawing. Sarah watched, trying not to cry. When she finished, Lily proudly held up the paper. "Done, it's me and you, and it says I love you." Sarah took the drawing with trembling hands. "It's beautiful, my love. Thank you." Lily smiled broadly. "You're welcome, Mom. Are you happy now?" Sarah forced a smile. "I am now." But inside, she was broken. On Monday, she took Lily to school and went straight back home. She sat at the kitchen table with all the bills spread out in front of her. Rent, electricity, water, food, bus fare. She did the math one more time, and another, and another. No matter how she calculated it, the result was the same. She wouldn't make it. She thought about talking to the landlord, asking for an extension, but she knew he wouldn't accept. He had already warned other tenants in the past. Late payment meant eviction. She took a deep breath and picked up her cell phone. She called more clients, left voicemails, sent messages on WhatsApp. No one replied. Late that afternoon, when she went to pick Lily up from school, the girl came skipping. "Mom, the teacher said we're having a special snack tomorrow." Sarah smiled, even with a heavy heart. "That's great, love." "Are you okay, Mom? Your eyes are red." "It's allergies, my dear, it's nothing." Lily took her mother's hand. "Shall we go home?" "Let's go." On the way, Lily hummed softly. Sarah looked at her daughter and felt her heart tighten. Lily didn't deserve to go through this. She deserved a better life. She deserved everything. That night, after putting Lily to bed, Sarah stayed up late, sitting on the old sofa with a blanket over her shoulders, looking at the ceiling. She thought about giving up, thought about going back to the state she came from, but there was nothing waiting for her there either. She thought about asking for help, but from whom? She thought about Ethan, his gentle way, the way he looked at her without judging, but no. She couldn't ask him for help. She barely knew him, and he'd already done too much. She would figure it out on her own. She had to. On Tuesday morning, she woke up to a message. It was from an old client who hadn't called for months. "Hi, Sarah. Are you available on Thursday? I need a cleaning gig done." Sarah replied in less than 5 seconds. "Yes, what time?" 8 in the morning. Is that okay?" "Yes, it is. Thank you." It was one-day job. Just one, but it was something. A small breath of air in a month that was suffocating her. Sarah got up, made coffee, woke Lily, and carried on with the day, because that's what she did. She kept going. Always. Even when everything seemed impossible, even when the whole world seemed to be collapsing. She kept going for Lily, always for Lily. The Sundays at the park became routine. Every week, Sarah and Lily arrived around 10 in the morning. And every week, Ethan and Liam were already there, waiting. The children ran to each other the second they saw each other. Ethan and Sarah greeted each other with discreet smiles and sat on the same bench as always. But that Sunday, Ethan noticed something different. Sarah was quieter. Her eyes had a shadow that hadn't been there before. She smiled when Lily talked to her, but the smile didn't reach her eyes. Her shoulders seemed heavier, as if carrying an invisible weight. He didn't ask. Not in front of the children. They watched Liam and Lily play for a while. The two children had invented a crazy game where they pretended to be superheroes, saving the park from imaginary villains. Liam made funny voices, and Lily laughed non-stop. "Is she okay?" Ethan asked softly, glancing sideways at Sarah. Sarah blinked, taken by surprise. "Who?" "You." She forced a smile and looked away. "I am... just tired." Ethan nodded slowly, but didn't look convinced. He knew that kind of tiredness. It wasn't just physical, it was the exhaustion of someone fighting alone. He was quiet for a few minutes, just observing. Then he pulled out a bag that was next to him on the bench. "Oh, I brought some snacks. I made too many sandwiches at home." "Do you want some?" Sarah looked at the bag and hesitated. "You don't have to." "I know, but they'll go bad if no one eats them, and the kids will love them." He stood up and called the two, "Liam, Lily, come have a snack." The children ran over, sweaty and full of energy. Lily's blonde hair stuck to her forehead, her cheeks flushed from running so much. Ethan opened the bag and pulled out sandwiches wrapped in aluminum foil, juice boxes, some cut-up fruit in containers, and cookies. It was much more than two people would eat alone. Lily looked with shining eyes. "For me too." "Of course," Ethan said, handing her a sandwich. "Take whatever you want." The children sat on the grass, side by side, and began to eat. Liam offered half of his cookie to Lily, who accepted smiling. Ethan offered a sandwich to Sarah. "Eat. Seriously." Sarah took it, her throat tight. She knew he had done it on purpose. She knew he had noticed things were difficult, but he didn't say anything. He didn't make it look like charity, he didn't pry, he just shared. "Thank you," she said softly, her eyes fixed on the sandwich. "Don't mention it." They ate in silence. Sarah couldn't remember the last time she had eaten something so tasty. The sandwich had cheese, ham, lettuce, tomato, simple things, but made with care. You could tell someone had prepared it thoughtfully. Lily ate 2 whole sandwiches and still grabbed an apple, biting into it with satisfaction. "That was delicious, Uncle Ethan." "I'm glad you liked it, little one." When they finished, Ethan carefully put the trash back in the bag. He watched the children go back to playing, chasing each other between the trees. "Sarah," he said, his voice soft and careful, "I have some friends who are looking for someone to do day cleaning gigs. Can I give them your number?" Sarah turned her face quickly to him, her eyes wide. "Really? Really? They are trustworthy people. I've known them for years. Good people. If you want me to, of course." Her eyes filled with tears that she held back forcefully, blinking several times. I do want to, yes, thank you." Ethan shrugged as if it were no big deal. "I'll send them your number today. They'll probably call you this week." "Thank you, Ethan. Truly." He looked at her with that calm gaze, full of understanding and something else she couldn't identify. "We help those we care about." Sarah looked away, her heart beating faster. She felt her cheeks warm. The following Wednesday, Sarah received 3 calls, all from Ethan's friends, all needing cleaners for day jobs, all polite, respectful, offering fair pay and flexible hours. Sarah accepted all 3 jobs. For the first time in weeks, she felt she could breathe, that maybe, just maybe, she would be able to pay the bills that month. On the following Sundays, Ethan always brought snacks, sometimes sandwiches with different fillings, sometimes fresh-cut fruit, sometimes homemade cookies he claimed to have made with Liam. He always said he had made too much or that it was left over from the week. Sarah knew he was lying, but she accepted with silent gratitude because she knew he did it to preserve her dignity. One Sunday, it started pouring just as they were about to leave. A heavy downpour. The kind of storm that appears out of nowhere. Ethan looked at the dark sky and then at Sarah, who was putting Lily's things into her bag. "Did you come by bus?" "We always come by bus. Let me give you a ride. It's raining too hard." Sarah hesitated, biting her lip. "You don't have to." "I know. But it will take a while for a bus to pass, and Lily will get soaked." "It's already getting cold." Lily, who was standing next to Liam holding his hand, pulled on her mother's sleeve. "Mom, I want to ride in the car with Liam." Sarah looked at her daughter, her bright eyes full of hope, then at Ethan and sighed. "All right, thank you." Ethan's car was nice but discreet. It didn't draw attention. Liam and Lily sat in the back seat, talking non-stop about the games they had invented. Ethan drove calmly, and Sarah sat quietly in the passenger seat, watching the rain through the window. "Where do you live?" Ethan asked, his eyes on the road. Sarah gave him the address, and he put it into the GPS. They were in comfortable silence during the drive. The rain beat hard on the glass, and the radio played a soft song faintly. When they arrived in front of Sarah's building, she turned to him. "Thank you for the ride, seriously. Anytime you need it, you don't even have to ask." Sarah got out of the car and helped Lily out. The two waved before entering the building. Ethan stayed there, watching until they safely entered and the door closed, then he drove away. From that day on, whenever it rained, Ethan gave them a ride. He never made it seem like a favor. He always said it was on his way, even when it clearly wasn't. Sarah knew. But she didn't argue anymore, because deep down, she was grateful, and because his company made her heart feel good. The park meetings became the favorite part of the week for both families. Liam and Lily were inseparable now. They played everything, invented elaborate stories, laughed non-stop, shared snacks, helped each other climb trees. They seemed like real siblings, and Ethan and Sarah talked more and more. They talked about books they liked, music they listened to when they were younger, childhood memories, small dreams they still kept in their hearts. Ethan told her about the wife he lost, his voice soft, full of longing but not bitterness. Sarah listened attentively, non-judgmentally, just present. Sarah told him about the difficulty of raising Lily alone, without going into too many tough details, but being honest about the weight she carried. Ethan listened without offering cheap solutions or unsolicited advice. And little by little, without realizing it, they began to truly trust each other. One Sunday, Lily stumbled while running after Liam and scraped her knee on the pavement. She started to cry, the loud, startled cry of a child who has been hurt. Sarah ran to her, but Ethan got there first. He carefully picked the girl up. "Easy, little one." "Let me see," Lily sobbed, holding her knee with both little hands. "It hurts, Uncle Ethan." Ethan sat on a bench and gently placed Lily on his lap. Sarah arrived soon after, worried, her face pale. "Let me see, love." "It's just a scrape," Ethan said calmly, examining her knee. "Nothing serious. I have a band-aid in the car." "She'll be right back." He went to the car and returned with a first aid kit. He carefully cleaned Lily's knee, using a moist wipe, applied antibiotic ointment, and a colorful band-aid with a golden star pattern. "There. Now you're a real superhero. Every superhero has battle scars." Lily stopped crying and looked at the band-aid with admiration. "Really? Really? Superman has lots, Batman too." She smiled, tears still wetting her cheeks, and jumped off his lap. "Thank you, Uncle Ethan. Now I'm strong." And she ran back to play with Liam, who was waiting eagerly. Sarah looked at Ethan with watery eyes. "Thank you." "No need to thank me. I have practice." Liam is always getting hurt, but the way he had taken care of Lily, with so much gentleness and affection, as if she were his own daughter, touched Sarah's heart in a way she hadn't expected. The weeks went by. Ethan always found small ways to help, always discreet, always respectful, always without making a fuss. Once, he brought a new coloring book for Lily, saying he had bought it by mistake and the store wouldn't accept returns. Another time, he brought Liam's clothes that no longer fit, asking if Sarah knew anyone who could use them. The clothes were practically new. Sarah knew what he was doing, but he did it with so much care, with so much delicacy, that she couldn't refuse. Because he never made her feel small. He never made her feel less, and little by little she started to feel something different. It wasn't just gratitude, it was affection. It was admiration. It was something that made her heart race when she saw him arriving at the park. One Sunday, while the children were playing hide and seek, Ethan looked at Sarah and smiled. "Do you know I wait all week for Sunday?" Sarah felt her face warm up. "And you do?" "I do, because I know I'll see you two. It makes the week worthwhile." She didn't know how to respond, so she just smiled back, her heart beating too fast. Ethan didn't press. He just continued sitting there, watching the children, but inside he was also feeling something grow. Something he hadn't felt in years. Lily jumped onto Sarah's lap suddenly, full of energy. "Mum, can I play at Liam's house someday?" Sarah blinked, surprised by the question. "Love, that's something we have to arrange beforehand." "She can come any day," Ethan said, looking at Sarah sincerely. "Seriously. If you want to, of course. Maybe on a Saturday." "The kids would love to spend more time together." Lily put her hands together, pleading with wide and bright eyes. "Please, Mom, please." Sarah looked at Ethan, uncertain. "Are you sure?" "Absolutely. And you can come along if you want. We can have lunch. Something simple. Pizza, maybe." Sarah hesitated, but seeing her daughter's shining eyes, she nodded slowly. "All right, we can try," Lily screamed with joy and jumped off her lap, running to tell Liam. The two celebrated as if they had won the lottery, jumping and shouting. Ethan and Sarah exchanged a look and laughed together. "I don't think there's any turning back now," Sarah said. "I guess not," Ethan agreed, smiling. And for the first time in a long time, Sarah wasn't afraid of it. Because with Ethan, everything felt lighter, safer, more certain. At the end of that Sunday, when they said goodbye near the car, Ethan held Sarah's hand for a second longer than usual. "I'm glad we met at that diner." Sarah squeezed his hand back, feeling his warm skin against hers. "Me too." And when they left, each going their separate way, they both knew something had changed between them. It was no longer just a casual park friendship. It was something bigger, something deeper, something that was growing slowly, carefully, but truly and solidly. And neither of them was in a rush. Because the best things in life don't need to be rushed. They just need to be felt. And they were feeling it. Thursday started like any other. Sarah woke up early, got Lily ready for the day, left the girl with Mrs. Davies, and took the bus to the wealthy part of the city. She had managed to secure a day job in a luxury building through one of Ethan's referrals. The building was impressive. Marble lobby, security at the entrance, mirrored elevator. Sarah felt small entering there, but took a deep breath and carried on. The apartment was on the 12th floor. It was huge and completely empty. White walls, shining porcelain floor, enormous windows with a view of the city. It was being prepared for sale. The realtor who hired Sarah quickly explained, "I need you to leave everything spotless. We're showing the apartment this afternoon to some important clients. Call me if anything comes up." "You can count on me." The woman left, and Sarah was alone in that giant space. She put on her work clothes, old pants, a simple shirt, worn sneakers, tied her blonde hair in a tight bun, and started working. She cleaned every room carefully. The bathrooms, the kitchen, the windows, everything had to shine. Around 2 in the afternoon, she was kneeling in the living room, cleaning the floor with a cloth. The bucket of water and soap was beside her. Her hands were red from scrubbing so much. She was so focused that she didn't even hear the footsteps in the hallway. The door suddenly opened. Sarah looked up, startled. A man in a suit entered, grey hair, a leather briefcase in his hand, Behind him came 3 others, 2 assistants with tablets, an investment manager with glasses and a serious expression. And then Ethan Sterling walked in. Sarah felt her heart stop. He was wearing a suit, an impeccable dark suit that probably cost more than she earned in 6 months. A white shirt without a single crease, a perfectly aligned navy blue tie, shining shoes. His hair was combed back, his posture was straight, confident. The expression on his face was serious, focused. He was talking on his cell phone as he entered. "Yes, I saw the numbers. The appreciation is within expectations. We can close." His voice was firm, assured, authoritative. It wasn't the soft voice that talked to her at the park. It was the voice of someone who commanded millions. Sarah was paralyzed, still kneeling on the floor, the bucket beside her, the wet cloth in her hand, her old work clothes clinging to her body. The realtor began to speak, pointing to different parts of the apartment. "As you can see, the space is ample. 3,000 square feet, 3 suites, all with walk-in closets, gourmet balcony, privileged view." Ethan hung up his phone and looked around with analytical eyes. "How much will the renovation cost?" "We estimate between 80 and 100,000, the investment manager replied, checking his tablet. "It's worth it. This floor has potential. What is the estimated resale value after the renovation?" 2.5 million, maybe 2.8 if we do premium finishes. Ethan nodded, thinking it makes sense. "Let's go with the premium finish. I want a quick closing, 2 weeks maximum." He walked through the apartment with firm steps. He looked at details. He asked technical questions. He spoke of huge numbers as if they were nothing. Sarah was partially hidden by the door that had been left ajar. They hadn't noticed her yet. They were too focused on the conversation, the numbers, the possibilities. She couldn't take her eyes off Ethan. He was powerful, elegant, influential, completely different from the Ethan at the park. The Ethan who played with Liam, the Ethan who brought extra sandwiches and smiled gently. That was Ethan Sterling, the billionaire, the investor. The man who moved millions with a signature. And she was here, kneeling on the floor in old clothes, with hands red from cleaning so much, a cleaning lady. The shame hit like a wave, strong, suffocating. I don't belong in his world. The thought came clear, painful. She had been naive. She had thought they were the same. That he was just a single dad trying to raise his son. Someone like her, but he wasn't. He belonged to that world, of expensive suits, of million-dollar apartments, of decisions that changed lives with a stroke of a pen. And she cleaned the floors of those apartments. One of the assistants turned in her direction. Sarah quickly stood up, grabbed the bucket with trembling hands, and slipped out the side door that led to the utility area. She closed the door behind her and leaned against it, her heart pounding wildly. She heard the voices continue in the living room. Ethan talking about renovations, the realtor responding, numbers being discussed. She waited, quiet, invisible. When the voices moved away, going to another room, Sarah quickly grabbed her things. She put everything in her bag. She didn't finish the cleaning. She couldn't stay there. She left via the service stairs. She went down 12 flights without stopping. When she reached the ground floor, she was breathless, but she didn't stop. She hurried through the lobby with her head down and walked out onto the street. Only when she was far away, 2 blocks away, did she stop and lean against a wall. The tears came without warning. She cried there, in the street, hidden behind the old sunglasses she carried in her bag. She cried for the shame, for the humiliation, for the absurd difference between their 2 worlds. She cried because she had started to like him, to trust him, to imagine that maybe, but no, there was no maybe. She was just another person he helped, a charity project, someone he felt pity for. She wiped her tears away angrily and went home. That night, Ethan sent a message. "Hi, Sarah. How was your day?" She stared at the message for long minutes. She only replied the next day. "Busy. Lots of gigs." Short. Curt. Ethan found it strange, but didn't press. On Saturday, he sent another message. "Will we see you tomorrow at the park?" Sarah took hours to reply. I won't be able to make it. I have a day job on Sunday too. It was a lie. But she couldn't see him, not after what she had seen. Ethan frowned as he read the reply. It wasn't like her, but he sent an understanding response. That's okay. Another time then. Take care. Sarah didn't reply. On Sunday, Ethan and Liam went to the park as usual. Liam kept looking at the entrance the whole time, waiting to see Lily appear. Dad, and where's Lily? She's not coming today, champ. Her mom is working. But she always comes on Sunday. I know, but sometimes things change. Liam was quiet, kicking the grass with his sneaker. I miss her. Ethan ran a hand through his son's hair. Me too. And it was true. He missed Lily. And Sarah. He missed their conversations. The way she smiled. The way she looked at her daughter with so much love. He sent another message in the middle of the week. Hi, is everything okay? You disappeared. Sarah read it and didn't reply. Ethan started to get worried. He tried calling. She didn't answer. He sent more messages. Short replies when there was a reply. I'm fine. Just busy. We'll talk later. But later never came. Lily noticed something was wrong. Mum, are we not going to the park anymore? We are, love, just not right now. But I want to see Liam. I know, but Mum is very busy with work. Lily pouted but didn't insist. But Sarah saw the sadness in her daughter's bright eyes. And that hurt more than anything. Ethan, in turn, didn't understand anything. He reread their conversations, trying to find something he might have said wrong, something that might have offended her. He found nothing. Liam asked about Lily every day. Dad, call Sarah. Ask if Lily can come over to play. I tried Champ. She's very busy. But she likes us, right? Ethan sighed. I think so. But the truth was he didn't know anymore. 2 weeks passed. 2 weeks without seeing each other, without talking properly. Ethan felt an emptiness he hadn't felt in years, since his wife died. He had gotten used to Sarah, her presence, the way she made him feel, and now she had disappeared. Without explanation, without apparent reason. And he didn't know why, because he hadn't seen her in that apartment. He had no idea she was there, kneeling, cleaning the floor while he talked about millions. He didn't know she had seen who he really was, the world he came from. He didn't know she had felt small, invisible, unworthy. All Ethan knew was that Sarah had pulled away, and that hurt more than he expected, much more. Ethan endured 3 weeks. 3 weeks of unanswered messages, of ignored calls, of empty Sundays at the park with Liam asking about Lily. On Saturday night, he made a decision. He would go to her house. He needed to understand. He needed to know what had happened. Because the silence was killing him inside. On Sunday morning, he told Liam they were going for a visit. Are we going to see Lily? The boy asked, his eyes shining with hope. We're going to try. Liam celebrated quietly. Ethan took the address he had saved on his phone. He put Liam in the car and drove to Sarah's neighborhood. It was far from the area where he lived. Older buildings, narrower streets, people walking around. He parked in front of her building. It wasn't luxurious. The paint was peeling in some spots, but it was clean, organized. Stay here for a minute, champ. I'll see if they're home. Okay, Dad. Ethan got out of the car and entered the building. He climbed the stairs to the 3rd floor. The hallway smelled of home cooking. The sound of a television came from somewhere. He stopped in front of apartment 304. He took a deep breath. He knocked 3 times. Silence. He knocked again. He heard footsteps on the other side. The door slowly opened. Sarah appeared. Loose blonde hair, old sweatpants, a simple t-shirt. Her bright eyes wide with surprise. Ethan! Hi. She stood still, not knowing what to do. What are you doing here? I needed to see you. Sarah looked around nervously. I'm a little busy right now. Sarah, please, Ethan said, his voice soft but firm. I just want to talk. 5 minutes. She bit her lip, looked back into the apartment, then at him again. All right. But out here, she stepped out into the hallway and closed the door behind her. She crossed her arms in a defensive posture. Ethan put his hands in his pockets. You disappeared. I was busy. I know it's not just that. Sarah looked away. Ethan, I really have to... I missed you, he interrupted, his voice cracking slightly. Liam and I, we miss you both. A lot. Sarah closed her eyes, feeling her throat tighten. Ethan, what happened? Did I do something wrong? Did I say something that hurt you? Please, tell me, because I'm lost here. She shook her head, tears starting to gather. You didn't do anything wrong. Then why did you run away from me? Sarah opened her eyes and looked at him. The tears streamed down. I saw you. Ethan frowned. What do you mean? At the building. 3 weeks ago. I was working a cleaning gig in a luxury apartment. You came in with a bunch of people. Impeccable suit. Talking about millions. Her voice broke. And I was there, kneeling, cleaning the floor. Ethan felt his heart clench. He hadn't even seen her. Had no idea. Sarah, you didn't see me, she continued, angrily wiping away tears, but I saw you, and I understood. I understood who you really are, the world you come from, and she sobbed, I don't belong in that world, Ethan. Sarah, no. You're a billionaire. You talk about millions like it's nothing. And me, I clean floors. I can barely pay the rent. I wear old clothes and... She covered her face with her hands. I felt so small, so invisible. Ethan took a step forward and gently held her wrists, pulling her hands away from her face. Look at me. She tried to pull away, but he held her firmly. Sarah, look at me, please. She raised her eyes, tears flowing freely. Ethan held her face in both hands, with all the tenderness in the world. I don't care about status, I don't care about money. I don't care if you clean floors or if you run a company. None of that matters to me. But what matters, he continued, his voice trembling with emotion, is who you are. And you are incredible. You are strong. You are brave. You raise Lily alone even when everything seems impossible. You never give up. You love so deeply that you can feel it just by looking. Sarah sobbed, the tears falling faster. You and Lily. You are good for me and Liam. You made us feel alive again. You brought joy back into our lives. And I don't want to lose that. I don't want to lose you. Ethan, I don't know. I know we come from different worlds, he said, wiping her tears with his thumbs. I know there are differences, but none of that matters when we're together. Don't you feel it too? Sarah nodded, unable to speak. Then don't run away from me. Don't hide. Please. She closed her eyes and rested her forehead against his. I was so scared. Scared of what? Of not being enough. Ethan pulled her into a hug. Sarah hid her face in his chest and cried. She cried out everything she had held in for the past 3 weeks. He held her tightly, running a hand up and down her back, letting her release everything. You are more than enough, he whispered. You are perfect just the way you are. Sarah gripped his shirt with her hands, feeling his scent, feeling his warmth. For the first time in weeks, she felt safe. They stayed that way for long minutes, embracing in the simple hallway, with the sound of neighbors in the background, with the smell of home cooking in the air. When Sarah finally pulled away, her eyes were red, but she felt lighter. I'm sorry I disappeared. You don't have to apologize. I just wanted to understand. She wiped her face with her hands. I think I was starting to like you, really like you, and that scared me. Ethan smiled faintly. I was starting to like you too. And when you disappeared, it hurt. Sarah gave a shy smile. It hurt. A lot. They looked at each other for a moment. There was something different in the air now. Something deeper. More real. Liam is downstairs in the car, Ethan said. He really wants to see Lily. Sarah's eyes brightened. Lily will freak out. She asks about him every day. So shall we make them happy? Sarah nodded. genuinely smiling for the first time in weeks. "Let's go." She went into the apartment and returned with Lily, who was still in pajamas, her blonde hair messy. When Lily saw Ethan in the hallway, she ran and jumped into his arms. "Uncle Ethan, you came!" Ethan picked her up, laughing. "I did, little one, and Liam is waiting for you downstairs." "Liam, really? Really?" Lily looked at her mother, her eyes pleading. "Can I go, Mom? Please?" Sarah smiled. "You can, but put some clothes on first." Lily ran to her room, excited. Ethan and Sarah were alone again. He held out his hand. She took it. "Thank you for coming," she said softly. "I will always come, any time you need me." Sarah squeezed his hand, feeling her confidence slowly return. Maybe, just maybe, they could make this work. A week after the conversation in the hallway, Ethan called Sarah. "Hi, are you home this afternoon?" "I am. Why?" "Liam and I wanted to come for a visit." "If it's not too much trouble." Sarah smiled on the other end of the line. "Of course it's not too much trouble. You're always welcome. So we'll stop by around 3. "Perfect." When she hung up, Sarah looked at the apartment. It was small, simple. Nothing compared to Ethan's world, but it was clean. It was organized. It was home. She quickly tidied the living room, put some things away, and told Lily, "Liam is coming to visit us soon." Lily jumped off the sofa. "Really? Today? Today?" The girl ran to her room to choose which toy she would show her friend. At exactly 3 o'clock, the doorbell rang. Lily ran to the door even before Sarah got there. She opened it and found Liam standing there, smiling broadly. "Liam! Lily!" The two hugged as if they hadn't seen each other in months. Even though they had met at the park the previous Sunday, Ethan was behind his son, holding a simple box wrapped in brown craft paper. He smiled at Sarah. "Hi." "Hi, come in." They entered the small apartment. Ethan looked around attentively, not with judgment but with genuine curiosity. He saw Lily's drawings stuck to the refrigerator with magnets. He saw the photos on the wall. He saw the old but clean sofa, the scratched coffee table, the small television. He saw a home built with love and sacrifice. "Make yourselves comfortable," Sarah said, feeling a little awkward. "Thank you." The children had already disappeared into Lily's room, their excited voices echoing down the hall. Ethan and Sarah sat on the sofa. He placed the box on the coffee table. "What is that?" Sarah asked, looking at the box. "A gift. For Lily." Sarah blinked, surprised. "Ethan, you don't need to keep bringing things." "I know, but I wanted to." "Please, let me give this to her." Sarah bit her lip, but nodded slowly. Ethan stood up and walked to the hallway. "Lily, can you come here for a minute?" The girl came running, Liam right behind her. "Yes, Uncle Ethan. I brought something for you." Her bright eyes sparkled. "For me?" Ethan took the box and handed it to her. "Open it." Lily looked at her mother, asking for permission. Sarah nodded, her eyes already starting to water because she had an idea of what it was. The girl sat on the floor and began to open the wrapping carefully, as if she wanted to preserve every piece of paper. When she finally opened the box, she gasped. Inside was a new pair of sneakers. Light pink with white details. Nice, comfortable, good quality, but nothing ostentatious, exactly her size. Lily took the sneakers out of the box with small hands, trembling with excitement. Is this for me?" "It's for you," Ethan said with a gentle smile. Lily looked at the sneakers, then at Ethan, then at the sneakers again. Tears began to stream down her little face. "Thank you, Uncle Ethan," she cried, dropping the sneakers and jumping into his lap. Ethan caught her in the air and hugged her tightly. The girl squeezed his neck, her voice muffled. "Thank you so, so much. They're the most beautiful sneakers in the world. I'm glad you like them, little one." Sarah wiped her own tears with the back of her hand, trying not to sob loudly. She looked at Ethan over Lily's head and managed to articulate a silent, "Thank you." Ethan winked at her, his smile soft. Liam approached, curious. "Can I see, Lily?" Lily climbed down from Ethan's lap and carefully held the sneakers, showing them to her friend. "Look how pretty they are." "They're really cool," Liam agreed. "Now you can run even faster in the park." "I'm going to be the fastest of all." The children sat on the floor, examining the sneakers carefully. Lily ran her fingers over the laces, over the details, as if they were the most precious thing in the world. Sarah stood up from the sofa and walked over to Ethan. He was standing, watching the children with a smile. "Ethan," she began, her voice faltering, "you didn't have to do that. I know. But thank you, truly. You have no idea how much this means." He turned to her. "I saw her sneakers at the park. They were very worn out. I just wanted to help." Sarah wiped away another tear. "I was going to buy a new pair. I was just waiting to save up the money." "I know. But now you can use that money for something else, something you need." She looked at him with so much gratitude that Ethan felt his chest tighten. "You are a very good person. I'm just doing what I would want someone to do for me, if I were in need." Sarah took a step forward and hugged him. Ethan wrapped her in his arms, feeling her small body tremble slightly. "Thank you," she whispered, "for everything, for being kind, for not judging, for seeing us." "Always," he replied, tightening the hug. When they pulled apart, both of their eyes were shining. Lily came running. "Mom, can I put them on now?" Sarah laughed, wiping her face. "Of course, love." The girl sat on the sofa and quickly took off her old sneakers. When she put on the new ones, her eyes shone even brighter. "They fit perfectly. Look, Mom. They look beautiful, my love." Lily stood up and started jumping around the living room. "They're so comfortable and so pretty." Liam laughed, watching his friend's excitement. "Now you have to take good care of them." "I will take very good care of them. I'm going to keep them like a treasure." Sarah and Ethan watched, sitting side by side on the sofa. Their shoulders touched lightly. "She's never going to take those sneakers off," Sarah said softly. "That's good. They were meant to be worn." "You have a huge heart, you know that." Ethan shrugged, a little embarrassed. "I just try to be decent." "You're much more than decent." They continued watching the children play. Lily had put the old sneakers in a small bag and stored them carefully under the coffee table, as if storing an important memory. Now she and Liam ran through the small apartment, inventing some crazy game, laughing loudly. "Be careful not to break anything," Sarah shouted, but she was smiling. The children slowed down a little, but kept playing. "Would you like some coffee?" Sarah offered. "I'd love some." She stood up and walked to the kitchen. Ethan followed her, leaning against the doorframe while she prepared the coffee. "Do you feel uncomfortable being here?" Sarah asked suddenly without looking at him. "In my apartment. It's so different from your world." Ethan frowned. "Sarah, look at me." She turned, holding the empty mug. "I don't care where I am. I care about who I'm with, and being here with you and Lily is where I want to be." Sarah swallowed hard. "How do you do that?" "What?" "Always say the right things." Ethan smiled. "I just speak the truth." The coffee dripped into the coffee maker. Sarah poured 2 cups and handed one to him. Their fingers touched for a second longer than necessary. They went back to the living room and sat on the sofa again. The children had calmed down and were now on the floor, drawing together in Lily's old notebook. "What are you drawing?" Ethan asked. "A family," Lily replied without looking up from the paper. "With a dog," Liam added. Sarah and Ethan exchanged a look. There was something there, a connection, a silent understanding. The following weeks were different, lighter, more natural. Ethan and Liam started visiting Sarah and Lily more often, sometimes during the week, after her work, sometimes on the weekend. They had dinner together, watched movies, played at the park. They did simple things, but they meant everything. Lily and Liam became truly inseparable. They finished each other's sentences, invented secret languages, protected each other like real siblings. And Ethan and Sarah, they talked more. They talked about everything, about fears, about hopes, about the past, about the future. They sat side by side on the sofa while the children slept and talked late into the night. Sometimes they just sat in comfortable silence, simply enjoying each other's company. The glances between them changed. They lasted longer. They meant more. When Ethan held Sarah's hand to help her up from the floor after playing with the children, he held it for a few seconds longer. When Sarah adjusted his tie before he left, her fingers lingered on the fabric. Small touches, small gestures, but each one loaded with something profound. One day, while they were doing the dishes together in Sarah's small kitchen, Ethan bumped into her accidentally. "Sorry." "It's okay," she replied, but didn't move away. They stayed there, side by side, their arms touching, silently washing dishes. It was intimate, it was simple, it was perfect. "Sarah," Ethan said softly. He paused, searching for the right words. "I want you to know that what's happening between us, is real for me. Very real." Sarah stopped scrubbing the plate and looked at him. "For me, too. I know we're taking it slow, and that's fine. I'm not in a hurry." "Me neither," she said, her voice soft. "But I like where we're going." Ethan smiled. "Me too." He held out his hand wet with soap. She took it. They stood hand in hand there, in the kitchen illuminated by the yellowish light, with the sound of children laughing in the living room. And in that moment, Sarah knew. She knew she had found something special, something rare. Someone who saw her, truly. Someone who didn't care about the size of her apartment or the clothes she wore. Someone who loved her daughter as if she were his own. Someone who made her feel safe, seen, valued. And Ethan knew too. He knew he had found someone who made him want to be better. Someone who reminded him of what truly mattered in life. Someone strong, brave, full of love. Someone who had entered his life and his son's life and changed everything. For the better. When Ethan and Liam left that night, after long hugs and promises to see each other soon, Sarah closed the door and leaned against it. Lily appeared in the hallway, barefoot, her new sneakers carefully stored in her room. "Mom, are you happy?" Sarah smiled. "I am, my love." "Very happy." "Me too. Liam and Uncle Ethan are the best." "They are." Lily yawned. "We're like a family now, aren't we?" Sarah felt her heart clench with emotion. "Yes, I think we are." And for the first time in a long time, Sarah let hope in. The hope that life could be more than just surviving. It could be living, truly, with love, with joy, with people who mattered. And she was ready for it. Finally ready. 6 months after the day they met at the diner, the two families were together at the park again. But this time it was different. It wasn't just a casual meeting. It was a planned picnic, with a blanket spread on the grass, a basket full of food, comfortable, easy laughter. Lily and Liam ran between the trees, chasing imaginary butterflies, shouting and laughing non-stop. Lily's blonde hair flew in the wind. Liam held her hand as they ran. Ethan and Sarah were sitting on the blanket, watching. Sarah had her head resting on Ethan's shoulder. He had his arm around her, the touch natural, familiar. The sun was beginning to set, painting the sky orange and pink. A gentle breeze swayed the leaves of the trees. Ethan was quiet for a moment, just watching the children. Then he took a deep breath. "Sarah." She turned her face to him. He looked into her bright eyes. "I need to tell you something." Sarah straightened up a little. "What is it?" Ethan took her hand. "After I lost my wife, I thought I would never love again. I thought that part of me had died with her." Sarah squeezed his hand. "My heart closed. I shut myself off. I focused only on work, on Liam, on surviving each day. But it wasn't really living." He raised his eyes and met hers. "But then you came along, you and Lily." And something changed. Tears began to form in Sarah's eyes. "Little by little, you two opened my heart again, reminding me what it's like to feel, what it's like to care." Sarah let out a small sob. "Sarah, You and Lily made my heart open again. You brought light into my life and into Liam's life." Sarah threw her arms around his neck, hugging him tightly. Ethan wrapped her in his arms, feeling her tears wet his shoulder. "I love you," she whispered. He closed his eyes. "I love you too. So much." They hugged for long minutes. When they pulled apart, both of their eyes were red, but they were smiling. Ethan wiped the tears from her face. "You are amazing, you know that." "You are too." He leaned in slowly and kissed her. A soft kiss, full of promise. When they pulled away, they heard giggles. They turned and saw Lily and Liam standing there, looking at them with huge smiles. "You were kissing," Lily said, laughing. Sarah blushed. "Lily!" Ethan and Sarah exchanged a look and laughed. "Come here, you two," Ethan called. The children ran and threw themselves on top of them. They all fell onto the blanket, laughing. When they finally calmed down, the four people lay side by side, looking at the darkening sky. "Look," Lily said, pointing to the sky, "the first star." "Make a wish," Liam said. Lily closed her eyes tightly. Liam did the same. Sarah and Ethan looked at each other over the children's heads, smiling. After a few seconds, Lily opened her eyes and turned sideways, looking at Ethan and Sarah. "Can I ask something?" "Of course, love," Sarah said. Lily looked at the four of them there, lying together. "Are we a family now?" Silence fell for a second. Sarah felt her throat tighten. Ethan held her hand over the children. Liam propped himself up on his elbows and looked at his dad. "We are, right, Dad?" Ethan looked at his son, looked at Lily, looked at Sarah, and he smiled, his eyes shining. "Yes," he said, his voice firm and full of emotion. "We are a family." Sarah sat up and pulled Lily into her lap, hugging her daughter tightly. "Yes, my love," she said, her voice trembling. "We are a family." Lily and Liam screamed with joy and hugged each other, jumping. "I knew it," Lily shouted. "Now we're real siblings." Liam cheered. Ethan pulled Sarah and the two children into a collective hug. The four stayed there, embracing, laughing and crying at the same time. It was messy. It was imperfect. It was beautiful. When they finally separated, the sky was already dark, full of stars. Ethan helped Sarah stand up. The children picked up the basket together. They walked to Ethan's car, the four of them together. Lily held Sarah's hand with one hand and Liam's with the other. Ethan had his arm around Sarah's shoulders. As they drove through the city, the children chatted animatedly in the back seat, making plans. Ethan held Sarah's hand while driving. "Are you happy?" he asked softly. Sarah looked back, saw the children laughing, then looked at Ethan. "More happy than I thought was possible." "Me too." She squeezed his hand. "Thank you." "For what?" "For seeing us, for staying, for loving us." Ethan lifted her hand and kissed it. "Thank you for letting me." And there, in that car, with two children chattering in the back seat and the illuminated city outside, two people who thought they would never find love again discovered that love always finds a way. Sometimes it starts in a simple diner. Sometimes it grows in a park on Sundays. Sometimes it is built with patience, respect, and small acts of kindness. But when it's real, when it's true, it transforms everything. And Ethan and Sarah had found exactly that. A real love. True. Transformative. A love that had saved two broken hearts and united two lonely families. A love that would last forever. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next ones. Leave a like because it helps this story get recommended to more people. See you in the next story.